So I make candy. That's what my job is. I make candy. And I love my job, but not just because I love candy. Candy itself is this, I called that book Candy is Magic, and then I went back on it and was like, we shouldn't use the word magic because everybody uses that word now. But anyways, it is magic because candy has taught me in my life about process and about end results that are sometimes bad, even though you think the process is really great. It has taught me about change and how to sort of flow with change. It's taught me, I swear, I'm more joyful because I have candy in my life the way that I do. I love more because of it. I think I have a 10-year-old son, and I enjoy him more because of the role that it's kind of this magical thing that opened me up to all of these new ideas. And I think that the biggest thing, that I love is that candy is filled with this limitless potential. And there's no end to it. And the beginning is what I make of it, and then where we go with it, I get to do whatever I want within this sort of realm of putting sugar in a pot. So I love it because it inspires me to do new things, but it also, like a lot of food does for people, connects me to my past. So I can't really explain, it's like what I've learned by teaching. I taught myself how to make candy, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a little bit, but it's responsible for my choice to sort of live life in this way where I approach everything with the idea that everything has sort of this limitless potential to be what you want it to be, whether it's great or terrible, you get to make up your own mind about it. So look at that. It's so great, isn't it? So that's candy pouring out of a funnel onto a chewy center, and then the candy hardens. Oh, it's so great. So candy is my truest love. I love it beyond, and it is, a lot of people are like, I love my job, I love to work, but I am 100% what I do. And it's not like I made a decision to do that, I just don't have a choice. I'm like on a train that is going, and I'm holding on, and I'm staying there. And candy has never let me down. It's this thing, it's like, I consider candy to be my most reliable coworker. When everybody else is like, what are you people doing? I'm like, at least there's the candy. So I love it, and I'm gonna say it again, it is this thing that is overflowing with this limitless potential. And limitless potential leads you to the ability or the way to make a choice to sort of go beyond. And that obviously is something that we're here to talk about today. So, right? Blueberry lollipop. So beautiful. I just love it. I mean, I'm admiring my own work right now, and I don't even care. It is so great. Look at it. Okay. So we're going to talk about limitless potential and understanding what it is and how to put it to work and then how to use it to sort of go beyond. So at my job at Quinn, I make up all of our recipes and figure out ways within a very important team of people how to produce it, package it, and sell it. We do everything that we do mostly in-house. I was lucky enough to have as a roommate a total disaster of a graphic design student at Ohio University. And so I helped her with things like learning how to take out the trash and what is a storm window and all the things that she didn't know anything about, but she was this amazing artist. So we both moved to Portland after college from Ohio, and she lives and works here now, so thank God she does a lot of big projects for us, which is great. But we do most of everything that we do in-house. I write all of our copy. It is just a small group of people. So The way we make candy, though, is different, and it definitely goes beyond because we use real ingredients. We start everything that we do, I either think, what can we put in it that's delicious, or what do we want it to be like at the end? We use real dairy, real fruit, coffee, tea, flowers, chocolate, nuts, all real stuff. Whereas a candy that says, doesn't go beyond, uses fake ingredients to mimic all of those things. So I like to pay attention to texture, flavor, style, all of these things when creating these candies, because I didn't start out to make, hot tamales, even though I do like those. But I didn't begin to let's figure out how to make Jelly Bellies. That's not what it was. It was, how do we do what I want to do the way that I want to do it? And I, just sort of got to work to figure out how to do it. So this sort of idea of this limitless potential that candy has provided has caused me to sort of be able to go beyond with it as my job and what I do. So I am very fortunate to have people be interested at all in what I do. I know that, and I am very appreciative of it, and I feel very blessed that anybody has any question about me or candy or anything. And I will tell you that even still, when I get a phone call that somebody wants to talk to me, or you want me to be on your TV morning show and fake making candy, or any of it, or I'm going to go to Google and do a little talk at Google, and when they called, I was like, what? Do you know, who? Okay, I'll come to your Google talk. So I get to do all this cool stuff, and people want to ask me questions, which is amazing. So the thing is that when I do a normal interview with an interviewer or a blogger or a reporter of some sort, they seem to always ask the wrong questions. They don't ask questions that embrace this idea of limitless potential. They ask me questions like that. What does Quinn mean? I don't know. What is your guilty pleasure candy? And I have just told these people I created an entire company on nothing. I didn't know how to make candy. I did all of it with my 2 hands and my imagination, and now we have this. We're still really small, but we appear very large because everything we do is really nice. But and it's there's so many other questions you could ask me. And what you want to know is if you're at a gas station and you're looking at the candy aisle, what do you grab? And I'm seriously? Okay, so now, last week, we do events also. And so usually at events, people ask a lot of questions. And it's kind of the same setup. Last week, we were at an event, and we had these questions. Now, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I don't really care how much sugar is in anything. And I also don't care about calories, but people do, and that is fine. Free, also great. So these are the questions. Now, the thing is that we were at a party, and it was the Design Week opening party. It was you guys. And we had a table, and it was filled with 2 huge cotton candy machines. One, they have space bubble helmets. They're not small, they're noticeable, let's say that. And we had enough candy and different flavors of candy that we made with our hands to make limitless different types of cotton candy. We had that big sign out there that says magic, and we had cotton candy sticking in it. There were 4 people making cotton candy. There was sugar in the air. The whole place either smelled like a campfire or the sugar. We couldn't figure out if it was the machine or what. And we had candy on our faces, dangling off our eyelashes. And we were doing this all right in front of your eyes. And it was, when is the last time you've seen someone make cotton candy on that level, or taking big chunks of candy and putting it in and then watching it spin into sugar? I don't know. When is the last time you saw that happen? Probably never. Look, lovely little cotton candy machine. So out of the whole group, 1 person asked us about the process of what we were doing. The hundreds of people that attended the party, 1 person asked any question about what we were doing, which surprised me because, generally speaking, I feel that creative people are, a very curious group. But here we were, handcrafting artisan cotton candy. And one person asked a question, which I was like totally shocked by, because these questions were asked repeatedly. Now, you don't like sugar, or you cut refined sugar out of your diet, or you are on Whole30. Which is fine. It's all fine. You don't like to drink wine and eat candy at the same time. That's okay. It's okay. But I have to say or ask, given that it's design week, that's why I'm going to ask this question, and it's a huge group of people who are very creative all in one room, how did no one ask what we were doing? And that the focus was on that, instead of the focus being on, holy shit, how cool, what do you guys have going on over here? Because that, and not just because I like candy. So, we had this whole thing going on with the, this sign, all this cotton candy. And the thing is, for me, it's not really about the candy itself. I'm pretty confident that what we do is good, and I don't get too worried about, this is going to make me sound terrible, but I don't get very worried if people like it, because I know that the right people like it, or that I like it, and the right people mean like me and my kid, my boyfriend, and the people who work for me. So it's not about the candy, but it just kills me that at that party, in that setting, one person was curious enough to ask us questions. I took a similar setup to this, but on a smaller scale, to a preschool. And those kids who were between the ages of 4 and 5 had over an hour of questions for me. The questions were incredible, and this is 3 sampling of the question, 3 samples. Is that what candy looks like in your mind? Yes. What color is that smell? And how did you decide to make it so fun? So, I wanted to stay there forever, because those are, unfortunately, 4 and 5-year-olds are my people, I guess. So I love candy in the way that those preschoolers assume that I love it, but I also love it because those questions and the way that they approach it, that's how I look at not making this up, everything that I do in life. That's how I want it to be, that's how it goes. So this limitless potential and this concept of candy being able to go beyond, it's to me, sort of means everything. So my question is, how can you live a life and do work that goes beyond if you show up at a party and you see this giant cotton candy installation and you diminish the whole thing down into calories or sugar, and the free part, I like free stuff, so I don't care about that. But the other things are come on, what, so I'll get back to it in a minute, because candy is this thing that is filled with this limitless potential. It can be manipulated, you have to care for it, you can move it and change it and make it bigger and smaller. As you saw in the machine outside, it can be crunchy, nutty, boozy, buttery, chocolatey, fruity, chewy, bouncy, all these things. It's unlimited in all ways. The only limit on it is your own, my own imagination. So that's why candy, to me, is essentially in this sort of constant state of beyond. Now, the only way that it's possible to do it, and the only way that I'm able to act like this and live the life that I live is because I have a team of people who, if we took a quiz and I asked them, who here believes in my idea of limitless potential, maybe one person would say that they agreed with me, and the rest just follow me because I am like a preacher, and I really believe in it, and I convince them to believe in it too, and so they follow me. So the team is the thing that is sort of this major thing that you have to have in place. So my team, one really great example of the team rising above a challenge where limitless potential wasn't believed in was in this book that we just did. So I like to work with the same people because we all understand each other. So I often work like my illustrator, the woman who did illustrations in the book that I wrote, she made the vending machine outside, which is like the greatest. I don't know if anyone beep bopped and booped and got some candy, but right? Yeah, she's so incredible. So, and then a photographer, she's here too, she's taking pictures, and then designer who helped, she did the cover of the book and all these pages of the book, because when I got a book deal, I was told, like, yep, great, you can do whatever you want. We love your style, you're so creative, this is gonna be great. So then, you know, you like you like submit your stuff or write a first draft or like have some ideas or create a photo shoot. And then they write back, oh, we know you're really into this and we really appreciate your enthusiasm, but we need it to be way more boring. And so then I said, well, we have this contract and it said I get to do what I want, so I'm just gonna pull in my own team and we're gonna make the book that we wanna make. And like, thank God we did, because it turns out that a book publisher, you know, they use like you probably all know this, and I'm the first person on earth to find this out in the process of making a book, but like a template system where your book has to fit into like one of 3 designs. And I think I don't know, why would you make a book from scratch if you should just like, why don't you just sell that program and let people make their own books? I don't know. So I could not do the work that I do without the team that I have, and that book, in the process of it, is the perfect example of it. And for me, there's really nothing worse than people who want to resort to doing what's easy, or who say in a meeting, that sounds hard. There's just like no room for that in the way that I want to operate my life or my business. So that brings us back to this question of the cotton candy experience and what could possibly be limiting people's ability to really embrace this idea of limitless potential, or to understand this sort of idea of going beyond. You're gonna love this next slide, not just because of the picture. Okay, so we can make a list of the things that you think limit this like idea of limitless potential or hold people back from going beyond. Now, I'm not saying that you people in this room should identify with everything on this list, but you might know someone who identifies with something on this list, and they might look like you, and they might have the same jean jacket as you, because it's probably you. So this is what I think, these are just like me sitting at my desk maybe, writing a list down of like what could possibly be what's like reining people in. So the first thing is the internet, which I hate. I like to Google stuff, but I don't like to go to the internet to get ideas. My worst thing that I hate the most is when I'm working with someone who is new and designing, and they're like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go and make a pin board of all the stuff that's similar to what you like, and then send it to me. And I'm like, why don't we just start with our own ideas? Why do we have to use the internet to get ideas? And I probably all of you have sent that email, like, send me some stuff you like. I don't want to do that. I want to make it up. I want to start from the beginning and do it ourselves. So I like to go to museums and see live theater and talk to people, go to restaurants, and sort of formulate ideas that way rather than looking at this static thing on the internet. So the next thing is stupid comparisons. I don't like to compare anything to anything that we do or that I do. I also don't believe in competition, but that is like a whole nother talk for another time. So maybe another thing that's sort of reining it in is like your peer group, that you don't surround yourself with people or work with people who have this idea of like starting from the beginning and going beyond with most of the projects that you have the opportunity to do. Maybe it's your personal relationships. Maybe you are afraid. Maybe it's your role at work and you don't have the opportunities to sort of voice your opinion and go beyond. It could be laziness. It could be that easy is easier, because I hear that a lot. It could be you never thought before, like to see a cotton candy machine at a party and go up and ask a question, as an example. It could be that you are not interested in life, and if that is the case, I'm sorry for you. Maybe you don't think that all of like what you experience in life influences your work, and if that is the case, we should have like a counseling session together. I'd be happy to do that. And then maybe you're 25 and you already know everything, which is also like an acceptable answer, right? So some of this stuff is probably, maybe applies to you. Maybe a lot of the stuff on the list doesn't apply to you. I'm not judging, and it's not like nitpicking. I'm a mom, and I excel at that, but I'm not doing that to you. I'm being really honest when I say, like, honestly and truly, and like with my whole sense of being, that I approach life with this sense of wonder. And candy taught me that because of the limitless potential that it has. And that limitless potential is this real thing. So maybe you don't think to go beyond because you don't operate that way, because not everyone can be in this shirt with these pizza earrings on this stage as whacked out as I am. I get it that I'm I'm like over 40 and weird, and it's okay. But maybe like you're not over 40 and you don't have this golden ticket sweatshirt that you made for yourself. Ready? It gets better. Made it for yourself, then wrapped it and put it under your own Christmas tree. But like if we could start to think a little bit about, like, if you decided maybe to challenge yourself for one day or maybe a week or a month or a year, and you decided to figure out and live and look at things like there's this potential in everything you see and experience, big and small, seemingly inconsequential. What if you embraced sort of more of your preschooler in a room with a cotton candy machine side rather than this other side that I don't know for you individually what it is, but it's like either, a lot of it, in my opinion, is like based on fear of looking one way or the other, or not appearing the way you want to appear in front of your coworkers, that kind of thing. But what if you did imagine that you could find inspiration in weird places, or that human connections can lead you to your next big idea? And what if, like, when you approach things in anything, small things, big things, whatever it is, you look at it and you consider the process of how something was made? Like, a really good example is Michelle's Candy is a Magic machine out there. Like, think that through, ask the question, see how she did it. What if you disregard your assumptions about most everything and approached your existence more open-minded? That would help you to sort of give in and then seek out information, which would sort of put you down this path. You could wonder more, you could obviously ask more questions, and you could forget about being afraid of things. So if you did those things, and you could live that sort of life like that, and you remained open to beyond, what could possibly happen? You could look at that, right? That candy sparkles in your mouth when you eat it. If you put that in a cotton candy machine, the cotton candy sparkles in your mouth when you eat it. It's the most amazing thing, if you like candy. Okay, so what if you remained open to these experiences and you allowed the ordinary to be, like, amazing, and you could start believing and sort of looking at everything with this belief that it contains limitless potential? I know that I would rather work with people and surround myself with people who do that, who work that way, who are really interested in making exciting stuff or bigger ideas that sort of go beyond the normal. Like, we could have come today and did this talk and had like candy samples out, and it would have been great. But I don't do anything like a table with candy samples on it ever. I really go big all the time. I hate that phrase, but it pretty much sums it up. So for people who understand going beyond, the people who ask questions about a cotton candy machine at a party, the people who were the first person to get up there and interact with the candy machine out in the lobby, those are the people that I love and who I want to work for and be around and who I would follow anywhere. So maybe today, with what we have brought for you to see and experience out there, is sort of a good first step for you if you're more reserved and you don't really want to get into this stuff. And so we have a human vending machine. We have sort of a do-over on cotton candy out there. If you haven't tried it, there's like 40 flavors, and we made all of it, and you should try it. And you can go out there and kind of make the most of what we have brought for you today. And I think that you should start now. Thank you.